Hi everyone, welcome back to Grounded Haven. We just got a pretty exciting package in the mail and we are going to be trying out something new today. We are going to try inoculating some mushrooms. To be fair, this actually isn't that new to us. We did try this once 2 years ago, but it didn't really work out. I kind of know where we went wrong and I'll kind of talk about that later, so hopefully this time we can do it right. So this is our second attempt, but we have never successfully grown mushrooms before, so I would still consider us beginners to this. So we are trying out this new process again today. Here's a look at what we ordered. I ordered from North Spore Mushroom Spawn, northspore.com, and I got 2 different kinds of mushrooms in 2 different ways of inoculation because there are a few ways to inoculate mushrooms. So this here, these are winecap mushrooms, and I got this in sawdust spawn. As you can see here, all of that like white stuff in there, that's all of the mycelium in the sawdust substrate. Then I also got some shiitake mushroom plugs. So you can see these are mushroom spawn that's inoculated on dowels. So for the plugs, you need to plug these into some freshly cut logs. And for the spawn, you spread this over some kind of substrate. For this, we're gonna do wood chips, but some mushrooms you do over straw. All mushrooms kind of have a different preferred kind of substrate and also preferred kind of wood that they like to be inoculated on. So in the past, we've tried mushroom plugs, we tried shiitakes, and I think oysters. But last time when we tried this out, our logs were not freshly cut down. Back then we didn't have a chainsaw, so we actually just picked up logs from some listing on Craigslist from someone who had cut down some trees on their property. But their logs, I think, had not been freshly cut. They were cut maybe a month or 2 ago, and it did also take about a month for our mushroom plugs to arrive to us. So by the time they arrived and we were ready to put them into the logs, I think the logs were too dry and too old. So today we are going to be freshly cutting a tree down for our mushrooms. Different kinds of mushrooms have different kinds of trees and wood that they like to inoculate. So we looked around our property. We have kind of like a wooded area. You can see some of it behind me. And we have a ton of a few different kinds of trees. One of the trees we have an abundance of are oak trees. And you can see with our order, they actually sent us the 2 guides. One is for the sawdust spawn and one's for the plug spawn. So this gives you all the instructions for how to do it. Here's a little chart that tells you what kind of mushrooms prefer what kind of logs. So since I knew that we had oak trees, I just went online and looked at this chart and I looked at what kind of mushrooms we would be able to grow on oak trees, since I know that that's what we can cut down fresh on our property. So we're gonna go into our wooded area and choose a fresh tree and cut it down. You don't want to use diseased or dead trees because they could have like wild mushrooms or fungus already living on them, and you want like a fresh tree that your spawn can fully inoculate. And we're looking for a tree that is between 4 to 6 inches in diameter because that is the preferred diameter for something to inoculate with the plug spawn. And for the sawdust spawn, we are going to be making almost like a raised bed for it, but it's going to be a raised bed filled with freshly chipped wood chips. And then we're going to like layer the spawn and the wood chips, and that's where the winecap mushrooms are going to live. So this is the area where we're planning on putting our bed for the winecap mushrooms. It's kind of under this like wooded area, so there's plenty of shade. It gets like a couple hours of sun in the morning, but other than that, it's pretty much shaded all day long. And that's really good because mushrooms like a really moist environment, and I think a lot of them don't like sun. So we're just gonna make a little bed here. We just need to clear this out. We have some like branches and stuff we have to move, and then Aaron's gonna mow over this. We're also going to set down some cardboard to block any of the existing living grasses and weeds, and then start layering our bed. There's our little wooded area, and we're looking for a healthy, kind of on the younger side oak tree, and we should have plenty. And I'm not worried about cutting a tree down just for this because we do have a lot of trees competing for space and light, so I think taking one tree out is going to be fine. Oh, I think we wanted to take one of these trees.
Yeah. If these couple were really close together.
Yeah.
In a good length, or this guy, I don't know.
This one?
This guy looks a little sickly and thin.
Okay.
Not sickly because the leaves look nice, but...
Maybe this one? Let's look in the back. I think we have some oak trees in the back too.
I see a couple spots that are like...
Let's go measure it, see the diameter.
Actually, some of this branch is coming from the other one. But that's okay. Let's see, I think it's like...
Yeah, so that's pretty perfect. 4 to 6, so that's perfect.
Yeah,
it'll be a little skinnier up there.
Like,
yeah, so. I think that'll be good.
Let's take a look in the back just in case, though.
Yeah, maybe get one that's by
There's
itself.
An option there.
Yeah. Oh, there are the frogs. Oh, there's a frog right there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he went under.
Oh, there's... No. Yeah, there's one.
He's there. He's popping his head out. Right there. Little froggy. Oh man, so cute. All right, back to our tree hunt. So this is the tree that we've selected. It is an oak tree, and it looks nice and alive. Plenty of leaves going all the way up. At the very base, it's about 5 inches. And then I think we're gonna need maybe 4 feet of length. So if we go up the trunk as it gets thinner, still about 4 inches. So I think that's gonna be perfect. And then any of the areas that we don't use for our plug spawn, like when it gets a little bit skinnier, we can use that for the border of our sawdust spawn for our winecap mushrooms. So that way, hopefully we'll be able to use this whole tree that we're cutting down.
Perfectly.
Yeah. Whoa. Here are the oak logs that we have for our plug spawn. So beautiful. So I'm not sure if we're gonna need all 3 of these. I think we'll probably need 2 of them. And what we have to do now for the dowels is drill holes into these logs, and you need to do them 4 inches apart and kind of like crisscross them. So 4 inches apart in each row, and each row has to be 2 inches apart. And you do that all around the entire area of this log. Then after you do that, you need to seal those holes with some wax. So I have some cheese wax here. This is actually left over from the last time we tried to do plug spawn. So I'm just going to be using this, but I believe you can also use beeswax. I'm just going to use this since we have it. We have to melt this and seal over the dowels where we have inserted them into our drilled holes. And we also have to seal the ends of the logs. This is to make sure that no pests get into it, like critters or insects, and also so that the dowels with the spawn don't dry out. So while Aaron drills those holes, I have a campfire going over there, and just so that I don't dirty one of our pots, I saved this aluminum can, and I'm just going to melt a chunk of this wax in this can over the fire, and then we can use that to wax over all of our areas. We've got our mushroom spawn bed set up here with cardboard along the bottom. Aaron is currently drilling the holes for our plug spawn, and we have our cheese melting over the campfire there. So while Aaron is working on the cheese wax, I mean, not the cheese. So while Aaron works on drilling all of those holes, we need 100 of them because we bought 100 plugs. I have to chip some wood for our winecap mushrooms. We have a big pile of all of the smaller branches from the oak trees that we cut down, and we're going to be chipping them fresh with this little electric wood chipper that we have. This thing is amazing. We've been using it all spring to chip a lot of things that we prune, like our fruit trees and also any trees that come down, and we're able to use all of the chips as mulch, which you've probably seen in our vegetable garden walkways. So we're going to be using this to chip all of the substrate that we're going to be using for our winecap mushrooms. And I've wet down the cardboard just so that it helps it to stay moist and break down. it's the next day. We ran out of daylight yesterday. We did get our mushroom logs done, but we didn't do our wine cap mushrooms at all. We probably could have done like half of it, but I didn't want to open the bag and not finish it, so we just saved it all for today. So we've already done one layer of like shredded material down here, and then the next thing we have to do is add a layer of the sawdust spawn and then chip some more stuff to go on top and then repeat that. So that's where we're going to pick off from yesterday. So here is our finished mushroom bed. We're just watering it in one last time, and we'll just have to keep it kind of moist while it gets settled in. Right now it looks really green because our leaves were fresh, but I'm sure in a few days those leaves are gonna turn brown and it's gonna be all brown all over. So here's a look at the mushroom logs that we actually finished yesterday. We propped them up on some bricks and we ended up just using 2 of these 2-foot lengths of logs. You can see we've sealed in all of the plugs with the wax, and then here's a look at the ends that have been sealed as well. You lift them off the ground with bricks so that they don't have contact with the floor, but you do want to keep them kind of lower to the ground where it's a little bit more humid. And then same thing with these, you do have to water them every once in a while just so that they stay kind of moist. I believe these wine cap mushrooms only take a few months to inoculate, so we may start getting harvest even this summer. The shiitake logs, I think, will start fruiting maybe in the fall because I think they prefer cooler weather. So I specifically got things that are ready to harvest at different times, and let's just hope that this year it works since it is our second attempt. Let's just hope everything goes well, and we will keep you guys updated. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll see you again in the next one.